guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a forbidden romance recommendation video. This is one of my favorite tropes, and I haven't done a rec video since like 6 months ago, so I figured it was time to do another one. I have 10 forbidden romances that I absolutely love, that I think you would love too, and they're either forbidden because they're like taboo in nature, they shouldn't be together, or because the other person is taken. I almost did like a they're off limits video, but I didn't have enough to do just that video, so some of these, they are taken by someone else, whether they're like a friend, a sibling, or just someone else in general, but all of these, they can't be together for some reason, so I'll go ahead and get to the recommendations. First up, I have Bring Down the Stars by Emma Scott. I really love this one. It is a love triangle, and now it's forbidden because you know who she's gonna end up with because this only has 2 points of views, the hero and the heroine. So she starts dating someone, and it's his best friend that's in love with her, but he feels like he can't be with her because his best friend's wanting her. I wouldn't say he's in love with her, but he wants her for his own reasons because his parents are really hard on him and he thinks they'll take him more seriously if he's dating her. He does genuinely like her too, but it's more so like because he just wants like a good girl to date. And it's really sad though because the hero Weston is just very grumpy and hates the world but gets along so well with her, and it's such a cute romance and I really loved them together. It is a duet, so there are 2 books in here, but Weston feels like he can never make a move on her because she is currently dating his best friend. So if you like a love triangle forbidden romance, read this one. The next one I have, I know some people strongly dislike. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time, and that is The Confidence of Wildflowers by Macaulay Smelter. This one is just very entertaining because it has a lot of things happen to these characters. So it is a age gap, so he is actually her new neighbor. She lives with her mom and her sister. I don't remember if her sister moves out in the middle, I don't remember, but she's living with her mom. She just graduated high school. She currently has a boyfriend, so she is definitely off limits, and he is a single dad. He is divorced, and he just grows closer to her, and I just really loved how sweet he was to her. At one point he did something that was super sweet. I don't want to spoil it because I loved the experience of reading it for the first time, but she does end up babysitting for him and spending more time with him, and he's just very grumpy, and they fall in love. And I will say there are a lot of things happening here. There is death of a loved one, there is illness, there's cancer, and things like that, so make sure you know what you're getting into when you read this book, but it's definitely messy. I will say that. It is a forbidden romance. He's much older than she is, and she is currently dating someone, and she does not break up with that boyfriend. So there's cheating in here, but I really enjoyed this one. So I think Macaulay Smelter is definitely an author that will always end up on this list. Same with QB Tyler, who I have later, because they just love writing their taboo romances. Then another one of my favorite authors that loves writing the forbidden romance is Gianna Darling with The Affair. This one's actually the first book she wrote, and I think this is her least popular series. I had a fun time reading book 1. I gave it 4 stars. This one, our heroine literally has an affair. So there is cheating in here. I feel like when you get into the forbidden aspect, especially if they're with someone else, you're gonna get into a little bit of cheating involved, which it happens. So I don't mind cheating in my romances. Obviously, I do not think cheating is okay in real life, but I think it adds to the drama and the angst to a romance, so I like reading about it. But our heroine goes on vacation and meets a guy on the plane, and he is clear from the start that he is not single. He is engaged. I don't remember if he tells her he's engaged, but he is engaged. He at least tells her he is dating someone else. They start an affair on vacation. So you don't know in the first book though, but later on you realize that he is engaged to someone she is close with. So I don't know how that's gonna play out because I've only read the first book, but I knew, knowing about this series, that he is engaged to someone she knows. But that's not revealed in book 1, but she is aware the entire time that this affair is with someone who is not available. So it's a lot of fun, very short, and if you want to get into this series, I definitely recommend, because this heroine and hero are involved in other series, like you see them and they really affect other characters, but I recommend if you want a good time. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go into Macaulay Smelter's other one, and that is Sweet Dandelion. I actually listened to this on audio. It's very long, but it's super emotional. Please note going in, our heroine is a survivor of a school shooting, and so she loses her mom in this school shooting. She is a teacher, and so the heroine is experiencing that with her mother, and her mother saves her life, and so she transfers to a new school because she's now living with her older brother, and she has to see the guidance counselor every day, and it is their romance. Very taboo, very forbidden, but I will say their relationship does have repercussions, and she is really trying to explore her trauma and try to explore just what she wants out of life in general. We do get to see her, she's a senior in high school in here, but we get to see her later after she graduates, and I really appreciated this just personal journey that this heroine went on and how she did a lot of it without the hero there, which I think was super important. I don't want to spoil anything, but she does have to take time for herself and explore what she wants out of life and just live life, and I really appreciated that. But the hero does help her overcome her trauma, and they do end up falling for each other. So I just really enjoyed this book. Very emotional, very heavy, but also a forbidden romance. Then I have a book that I never stop talking about, and that is Parallel by Elizabeth O'Rourke. This one is forbidden because she is engaged to someone, but she has been dreaming about Nick literally her entire life. So when she was a child, she would tell her parents, like, I am married, my husband is Nick, and she knows everything about him. And so she got therapy, and she like slowly started to like forget that, but now she's engaged, she's picking out wedding venues, and these dreams are coming back full force, and she's having like these like day visions too. She will come back to reality and not remember who she is and like ask for Nick. So she is taken to the hospital at one point. I think she like gets a concussion because she fell during one of them, and Nick is her doctor, and she looks at him, he looks at her, he's dreamt of her but never seen her face, but he instantly feels a familiarity with her, and she is like, it's you. And she can tell him everything about him, and he is like, I've never told anyone this. He's currently has a girlfriend, so they're both in relationships, but it's obvious that they're meant to be together. And Nick gets very jealous, even though he knows he shouldn't be because he's not part of her life, but he has this feeling that they should be part of their lives. So it's very much soulmates. It's got time traveling too, which I haven't gotten to yet. I've only read book 1 and book 2. They really explore the time traveling. She still does not know anything that's going on, but there's a cliffhanger in here, and I was just obsessed with this romance because give me the angst. A good forbidden romance will just deliver on the angst, and I love this so much. So highly recommend reading this and checking out Elizabeth O'Rourke, definitely. I talked about Waking Olivia in my previous video I did because that's forbidden as well. Then I have Goodbye Paradise by Serena Bowen. This one is MM, and it's forbidden because they're in a cult, and so they have been taught from a very young age what is good is what is bad, and you can never ever be in a same-sex relationship. And so our hero has been pining after his best friend. Like, he is in love with his best friend, and he notices him a lot, but he doesn't think his best friend sees him that way, and they are kicked out of the cult. So something happens, and one of them's kicked out and one of them leaves, and it is them trying to survive on their own and try to find a way to find people who have also been in their situation. So I think they're gonna go and see someone's relative, I believe, that had happened in here, but they don't understand, like, the rest of society doesn't see that being in that kind of relationship is bad, and so they are trying to hide it from people and just exploring things with each other, because they also have to confront their feelings for each other, because they are like, I didn't know you felt that way, because we've had to hide it our whole lives. So it's definitely forbidden in their minds because of what they've grown up with, and it was forbidden when they were living in this cult. I thought this book would have more cult, but it doesn't, so know that going in. They escape pretty quickly in the beginning, and the rest is just about them trying to survive and live on their own, and then they're trying to hide the fact that they like each other from the people they're staying with because they don't want to offend them. And it's just such a sweet romance though, because they are literally best friends, so if you like a best friends to lovers romance, I would definitely recommend this one. Then we have Bittersweet Surrender by QB Tyler. This one is a love triangle, but it's obvious who she ends up with. She's gonna end up with a marriage counselor. Her and her husband are on the brink of divorce, and so they go see a marriage counselor, and she's having an affair with a marriage counselor. And it's really good. It's very steamy in typical QB Tyler fashion. It is a duet. I've only read book 1, so there's no official HEA at the end of this one, but you can see that she is really not in love with her husband anymore, and she does cheat on her husband, know that, but it's just a messy taboo time. I feel like a lot of forbidden romances can be very messy because they are running around and not telling people what they're doing because they know what they're doing they shouldn't be doing, but I really enjoyed it. If you want that kind of romance, you should definitely check this one out. Then I have Reckless Memories by Catherine Cowles. I have a copy, but it's sitting over there. I listened to this one on audio. They do have a box set of the first 3 on Audible for 1 credit, so I got 3 books for 1 credit, which was amazing. This one is one of my favorite tropes. So it starts out with the heroine, and she's in high school, and she's like going somewhere with her sister and her sister's boyfriend. Her sister she's super close with, and her sister's more like the perfect child in her parents' eyes, and the boyfriend and her are really close. They're like best friends, and they get into a car accident, all 3 of them together, and the sister dies. And so the hero runs away. He is horrified of what happened, and her family doesn't make it easier on him, and so he decides to leave and go to California. And now it's like 10 years later, and he comes back into town because his family's restaurant is not doing well, and he has just a ton of restaurants in California. He's doing really well, and so he's coming back to help them. And our heroine is pretty much running the restaurant for his family, and they are forced back together, and it's their romance. So she feels like she's always had a thing for him because she was kind of in love with him when he was dating her sister, but he was dating her sister, and they're like, you could have been like married by now and with kids, and society definitely looks down upon that because the sister had died. And I feel like it's one thing if like they dated someone, broke up, and like got together with someone else, but she literally died, and so they feel a lot of guilt for being together. But I really, really love this one. It is definitely very angsty. They have to overcome a lot of emotions, and so it's small town as well. I love Catherine Cowles. Definitely recommend this one. Then the last two are ones I save for the end because I've talked about them in a couple other videos recently, so I didn't want to be too repetitive. So these ones are Grading Curves by Naima Simone. This one is Student Professor Romance. Our heroine is a little older. She goes into a tattoo shop and gets a tattoo and hooks up with the tattoo artist, and she is like, what am I doing? I never do this. But she's super attracted to him. He is super attracted to her and makes it no secret, but she runs away when he gets distracted and is terrified and thinks she'll never see him again. And then class the next week is starting, and she introduces herself and sees that the tattoo artist is in her class, and it is really good. He makes it known he is so into her, and he's like, I found you again, and doesn't want to let her go this time. And so if you want a pretty short taboo steamy time, this one I believe is like 100 pages, 120 pages, so it's a novella. I had a lot of fun reading this. And the last one is Puck Me Secretly by Odette Stone. This one is a hockey romance, and our heroine is training under the general manager of the team because it's her dad, and she promised she would take a look at like the job on the hockey team even though that's not what she wants to do. And the hero is their new hockey player, and so they actually hooked up beforehand. They were in a plane crash together. Yes, they survived, and they were like traumatized and decided to hook up, you know, to feel something. And then she gets to her job and realizes he's a new rookie, and he has a really bad reputation. He got into a lot of fights on his last team, and so that's why he was traded. But he's really good, and he needs this job and to take it seriously, and she needs to do well because a lot of people think she was just handed the job because of her father, and they end up secretly seeing each other. And it is so good because he is so protective of her, and that sometimes like puts him in a bad spot like with the media and stuff because people will say something about her and he'll go off, and it's so good. There's a little bit of like stereotypical villains going on in the end, but I thought it was a lot of fun. I read it in one day. Highly recommend this book. Highly recommend the entire series. I'm on book 2 right now. I've already read book 3. I'm obsessed. And those are some forbidden romances that you should check out. Let me know if you've read any of these or if you have any new forbidden romance recommendations for me. I would love to hear. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.